Hi, kindergarten friends. My name is Miss Leach, and I am so excited to be here to do a reading lesson with you. Give me one quick minute to share my screen with you. All right, so I am so excited to be sharing this lesson with you today. Today, we're going to be talking about the story Sylvester and the Magic Pebble. Let's look at our learning target to see what we're going to be learning about today. Our learning target is I can ask and answer questions about what I read. Let's say that together. I can ask and answer questions about what I read. So why do we ask and answer questions? We ask and answer questions to help us understand what we are reading. Some question words that you might use to ask and answer questions are who, what, when, where, why, and how. We ask and answer questions during our reading, before reading, during reading, and after reading. Before reading, we look at the title and cover, and we ask, what do we notice about this? We also ask, what do we already know? And we use a sentence called I wonder to think about what the story might be trying to tell us. During reading, we think about the author's words. We look at the text and the pictures for clues. We see and check the story answers that match our questions. And we think of new questions to ask. After reading, we think about the facts and information from the story that we learned. We check to see if the story's answers match our questions, and we have to think, what are we still wondering about? What might there be in the story that we didn't get answered as a question? So what I'd like you to do is look at the title and cover of this story and think about out loud or with someone sitting next to you, what do you notice about this story? I'll give you a few seconds to answer. So I notice a donkey on the cover of this story, and I see that his name is Sylvester. Do you think this story is going to be real or make-believe? And what makes you think this? Talk to someone next to you or think out loud about if this story is real or make-believe and why you might think this. I'll give you a few seconds. I wonder what's going to happen to this donkey Sylvester in this story. So let's read to find out about Sylvester and this Magic Pebble by William Steig. First, I see a dad donkey and a mommy donkey and a Sylvester donkey. And Sylvester looks like he's doing something really fun, and I'm wondering what those things are that he has at the table. So let's read on to see what it is. Sylvester Duncan lived with his mother and father at Acorn Road in Oatsdale. One of his hobbies was collecting pebbles of unusual shape and color. In all his young life, Sylvester had never had a wish gratified. Gratified means something that has come true or something that has happened. And it didn't happen so quickly. It struck him that magic must be at work, and he guessed that the magic must be in the remarkable-looking red pebble, where indeed it was. To make a test, he put the pebble on the ground and said, "I wish it would rain again." Nothing happened. But when he said the same thing holding the pebble in his hoof, the sky turned black. There was lightning and a clap of thunder, and the rain came shooting down. Look at all that rain coming down on Sylvester. What a lucky day this is, thought Sylvester. From now on, I can have anything I want. My father and mother can have anything they want. My relatives, my friends, and anybody at all can have everything anybody wants. He wished the sunshine back in the sky, and he wished a wart on his left hind footlock would disappear. And it did. And he started home, eager to amaze his father and mother with his magic pebble. He could hardly wait to see their faces. Maybe they wouldn't even believe him at first. So I noticed in the story that Sylvester finds a magic pebble. So turn and talk to somebody that's next to you or think out loud about what do you think this magic pebble can do? I'll give you a few seconds to answer. So a question that I have that I'm wondering is what makes this pebble so special? And what is Sylvester going to do with this pebble? So let's keep reading to see if we can find out. Oh no, look at this. This doesn't look good. As he was crossing Strawberry Hill, thinking of some of the many, many things he could wish for, he was startled to see a mean, hungry lion looking right at him from behind some tall grass. He was frightened. Frightened means very scared. If he hadn't been so frightened, he could have made the lion disappear, or he could have wished himself safe at home with his father and mother. So we see there's a lion in this story. What do you think Sylvester should do when he sees this lion? Turn and talk to someone near you or think out loud. What should he do? I'm wondering and thinking, how is Sylvester going to get away from this lion? So let's read to find out. He could have wished the lion would turn into a butterfly, or a daisy, or a gnat. He could have wished many things, but he panicked and couldn't think clearly. I wish I were a rock, he said, and he became a rock. The lion came bounding over, sniffed the rock 100 times, walked around it, and went confused, perplexed, puzzled, and bewildered. I saw that little donkey as clear as day. Maybe I'm going crazy, he muttered. And there was Sylvester, a rock on Strawberry Hill, with the magic pebble lying right beside him on the ground. He was unable to pick it up. Oh, how I wish I were myself again, he thought. But nothing happened. He had to be touching the pebble to make the magic work, but there was nothing he could do about it. His thoughts began to race like mad. He was scared and worried. Being helpless, he felt hopeless. He imagined all the possibilities, and eventually he realized that his only chance of becoming himself again was for someone to find the red pebble and to wish the rock next to it would be a donkey. Someone would surely find the red pebble. It was bright and shiny. But what on earth would they wish a rock were a donkey? The chance was 1 in a million at best. Sylvester fell asleep. What else could he do? Night came with many stars. So now we see that he is turned into a rock and he's gotten lost. I want you to think about, have you ever gotten lost before? What was it like? Or maybe if you've never gotten lost before, what do you think it would be like? Turn and talk to the person next to you or think out loud about what it would be like to be lost, or if you've been lost, what was it like? I'll give you a few seconds to think. I'm wondering or thinking, how does Sylvester feel about being a rock? And I wonder, how are his parents feeling when he doesn't come home? They have to be worried. Oh, look at them at the window. They look so sad and worried. Meanwhile, back at home, Mr. and Mrs. Duncan paced the floor, frantic with worry. Sylvester had never come home later than dinner time. Where could he be? They stayed up all night wondering what had happened, expecting that Sylvester would surely turn up by morning. But he didn't, of course. Mrs. Duncan cried a lot, and Mr. Duncan did his best to soothe her. Both longed to have their son back with them. I will never scold Sylvester again as long as I live, said Mrs. Duncan, no matter what he does. At dawn, they were about inquiring all the neighbors. So inquiring means they were going around asking the neighbors if they had seen Sylvester. So we're going to stop our story here today, friends. But I want you to think about, what do you think is going to happen next in our story? So let's go over our learning target one more time. Our learning target today was I can ask and answer questions about what I read. Let's say it together. I can ask and answer questions about what I read. Now, to go along with this, I have a very fun reading response. So some fun activities you can do to go along with our story for Sylvester and the Magic Pebble. The first thing is a link to Bookflix, which has an actual story of Sylvester and the Magic Pebble, where they will read you the story again out loud. Then, also with that, is another nonfiction story about rock collecting. Also, there's some fun puzzles. A word
Read
match.
the clue below. Click on the word it matches. Match all the words to uncover a picture.
A fact
Read the
or
sentence
fiction.
below. Is it fact or fiction? Click on a button to give your answer. Donkeys can turn into rocks. Look
And
at
a
these three
sequencing
pictures.
activity.
What happened first? Drag that picture to the yellow box.
Where you'll tell what happens first in the story, next in the story, and then last in the story. Then you can watch a fun video on Epic about asking and answering questions. It's very short, but it gives you a lot of great information about asking and answering questions. And last, there's a fun interactive video from iReady that has another story about asking and answering questions called Zoe's Perfect Pet. If you click on the book,
do you ever wonder
it will come up.
what kind of animal is the perfect pet? Let's see what this story tells us.
You can read the story, and then it has some questions at the end that you can answer. And as you read, be sure to ask some questions. Last, there's another activity to go along with that first story with Zoe. And this story is called Zoe's Sales Surprise. This is another story that you can read from iReady.
Think about this. What kinds of surprises are fun? Let's read to find out.
You read this story also. It will read it to you out loud, and then you can ask and answer some more questions. Well, kindergarten friends, I sure did have a great time reading Sylvester and the Magic Pebble with you today and asking and answering questions. And I hope you will join me tomorrow to finish our story and ask and answer more questions. See you then. Bye.